Hi, I am Monica Brandt, one of the world's first true fitness pioneers starting back in 1991. I helped launch the fitness industry while traveling internationally, meeting fans worldwide to share my style of fitness to the bodybuilding community. After a decade of fitness competitions, I earned one of the world's most prestigious titles, the IFBB Fitness Olympia Championships. Moving into the new millennium, I was the first IFBB Fitness Olympia athlete to transition into the new professional figure division and compete for close to another 20 years. After 15 years as an IFBB professional, I tried another organization and won the WBFF World Pro Figure Championships both 2010 and 2013. I am a true athlete and made my way into racing into the Masters USATF sprint events, placing top 3 at the World's Masters track meet in all 3 events, the 100, 200, and 400 meter races. Besides athletics, I have been honored with over 100 magazine covers both nationally and internationally. Since it's always a blessing to share with others, over the last 15 years, I've hosted women's fitness events and worked with clients, helping them discover how to live radiantly in all areas of life, body, mind, soul, and spirit. The Monica Brandt Show is one of the ways I am honoring the legendary athletes, powerhouse individuals, and nutrition gurus that have laid a strong foundation in the past, help keep the current industry flowing, and offer inspiration to the next generations. Show, if you didn't already know that. If you guys can check in over here, let me know where you are tuning in from. I'm here in San Antonio as my normal spot when I get to talk to these special guests I have, and I can't wait to bring on our special guest tonight. So let's see who's on. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Mark. And Shailene. Thank you so much, you guys. It's fun to see you jumping on here. So tonight, we have a very special guest. I'm saying plural because we have a couple that's coming on, and actually I think there might be a couple of their family members joining us as well. So it's going to be a fun show. Before I go into this, I want to share we have 2 giveaways from my sponsors tonight. So thank you to our sponsors, Legendary Foods, Egg White International, Aloe Life International, and BodyScape Magazine. So I'm going to give you the first question right now. Both questions do pertain to my special guest. So I'm going to give you the first question now. I'm going to introduce our guest, bring them on, and whoever can put the answer in the comment section, and please know that you have to be from the USA because we can't ship out of the USA right now. So I'm very sorry about that. But the first question is, what is the name of my special guest co-founder? He's a co-founder for a gym, and so once you know his name, you'll be able to go and research that. Both questions, you'll be able to research the answers online. So again, the second question will come later in the show. The first person that can come back with an answer for what is the name of my special guest. He's co-founder of a gym. What is the name of the gym? Okay. So without further ado, this gentleman is a husband. He's a father. He is the current Mr. Olympia, and he actually is training for the 2020 Olympia. So excited to bring him and his lovely, beautiful wife, who is also an IFBB Bikini competitor, Brandy and Brandon Curry, are going to be on tonight. Let's get it rolling, Kona. Hello. Hi, Brandy. Hi, Brandon. And we have one of your youngest, or is he the youngest?
Zion.
Yep, he's the
Hi,
youngest.
Zion.
Baby.
Zion Curry. No, Curry.
I have a feeling that our show is going to be highlighted tonight because Zion. I love it. Hey, this is a family show, and it's wonderful having all the fun faces on. So I am all about that. I'm all about family and relationships. So it's super fun. Thank you, Zion, for joining us tonight. So excited. Okay, so Brandon and Brandy, you guys are obviously in different locations. Will you share with us where you are right now? Maybe Brandon, if you want to go first.
Well, of course, I'm in Kuwait right now in the Middle East, preparing for the Mr. Olympia title. I am a little under 9 weeks out now as of Friday. So by next Friday we'll be at 8 weeks out, and I've been preparing here. That's just going on my 4th season, preparing for the Mr. Olympia in Kuwait. So it's been been a good place for me to come, and it's been very successful for me to come out here and prepare and get ready for shows. But of course, I do miss being at home and miss the fam quite a bit.
I can only imagine the sacrifice for that. When I was getting ready for one of my competitions in 2010, was the only time that I got to travel up to Canada and stay with my coach for, I think, 3 weeks. I was up there. I didn't have anything with me, just my computer and myself. I got to go train twice a day, whatever I needed to do, eat the foods I needed to eat. There were no, distractions. I got to bed early, got up early, and I was on for my show in 2010. So I know, but I didn't have family like you have. So that is a huge, huge sacrifice, but I know how nice it is as an athlete to get to be away and just focus in on what you need to focus. And this is such an important show to focus in on. So can you, and so Brandy, why don't you share where you are right now? I know it looks like you're home, but where are you in geographic?
We are in a town called Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, where Brandon is born and raised from.
Okay, so you guys wait, now, Brandy, you're from Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon, you're from Tennessee.
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome. Okay, so share, since we've got you guys together, share how you guys met, because that's a long ways away from each other, in theory.
We met 20 years ago, actually, our senior year in high school. I had come to Nashville for 4 months, our senior year. And when I had walked into the high school that we met at to register, it was the second day of school. Brandon was actually working in the attendance office. So he was the first person that I met in Tennessee 20 years ago.
Oh my goodness. He was working in the attendance office?
Yeah.
And you were a senior though, Brandon, right?
Yeah, basically I had no other classes. I was just stuck at school. So they made me do something. So attendance office was where I was.
They made you do something. So nowadays it seems like the kids, if they have their classes kind of wrapped up, they're able to be out of school for the most part, unless there's a class here or there they have to attend. Is that kind of what happened for you, but you had to stay in school?
Yeah, I didn't have the option. I wish I had the option to actually leave school, but of course I didn't, because I was an athlete, and typically I had practice after I was done with school.
Wow. Okay. So practice meaning football?
Football, track, and I did wrestle until they didn't allow Brandy on the wrestling team.
I was a high school wrestler and in Hawaii. And actually, Hawaii was the first state that actually created a female division for female wrestling. So I wanted to continue my wrestling our senior year in Nashville. And when I tried to walk onto the team there, they told me that I was not going to be able to wrestle. So Brandon boycotted.
Was this an all boys team?
I guess in the States they were used to it being boys.
Yeah, it was a boys team. We didn't have a girls team. But it was a coaching change as well. So I had no loyalty to the new coach. And he didn't even give her the opportunity to even try out, which I felt, she missed. If she can prove herself, he should give her an opportunity to wrestle since we didn't have a girls team.
Right.
So I had no loyalty to him, so I ended up not wrestling for him.
Was it that you were hoping to get to wrestle with her and
Well, it was more or less. It was more or less the principle of it. It wasn't about.
I'm teasing you, but
she was looking forward to wrestling, and I was looking forward to seeing if she was any good. So.
Oh yeah, so it was kind of on that same path. Like I want to see if she actually can do it.
He tried to wrestle me once at the mall, and I you
take him down. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if you actually had to wrestle Brandon for real, what move would you use on him to take him down though?
Oh man, he's pretty strong. I would have had to.
But now.
Oh, now?
Yeah, like can you bend a thumb or poke an eye or like what would you have to do now to get any leverage there?
Oh, cradle?
Yeah.
Zion says a cradle.
Okay, the cradle.
Okay,
is that it?
You gotta be strong. You gotta be strong to cradle.
He's got the terms down. That's pretty good though. All
our boys actually wrestle as well. Since it was a sport that both of us had competed in high school, they all love to wrestle.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's awesome. They want to be like their parents. That's so cool. So, Brandy, how did you make it to Tennessee from Hawaii?
My father was actually born and raised in Nashville as well, and he actually dropped out of high school his senior year and joined the military. And then he ended up being stationed in Hawaii where he met a local girl, my mother. And so our senior year, my grandmother, my dad's mom, she wasn't doing very well health-wise. And I didn't really know her since I had grown up on the island. So they needed someone to take care of her temporarily for a few months. So that's, my dad literally came to me one day, and it was the summer before our senior year, and he said, well, say goodbye to your friends. You've got 2 weeks. You're getting on a plane to Nashville. You got to go take care of your grandmother. So that's what happened.
Wow. How did you react to that at first? Do you remember how you felt about that? That's a big move at that age.
Sure, right before my senior year. But I don't know. I was raised in a pretty disciplined home, and I was raised to just be obedient to my parents, even if I wasn't happy. So I just kind of went with it. Most of my life was pretty difficult and challenging. So to me, it was just, I don't know. It wasn't anything I didn't feel like I could
handle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes things happen in our life that feel unfavorable at the time, but look at the favor you received.
Yep, I get it. I always look at things like that. Like, okay,
yes.
Let me make sense of this little stint here, God. Okay, and
it's hard sometimes when you're walking through it, though, right?
Yeah. That was a really tough time in my life. So, but he had become my best friend. And then we were friends for 8 years and eloped one day and had our first date the night we got married.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, what a story. What a fun story. So how long have you guys been married now?
12 and a half years.
Aww.
12 and a half.
Yeah,
And
but
a
we met
half.
20 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, that is so special. That's so special. This is, one of the things that I just love about getting to meet people, because you see Brandon and we see you, and you both are, amazing physiques and great athletes and role models and all the things that you see about you guys. But to hear the story of you coming together and how you guys have blessed one another is just really powerful. And I love that. I love being able to share that with the viewers and the people that will watch the show's post live right now, because the show will stay on my Facebook page and it'll stay on YouTube and it'll stay on the MonicaBrandtShow.com website. So it'll be there for anyone else to see. And I know that your story will inspire somebody, if not, thousands as they watch this. So it's so cool. Just never know. So, okay. So Brandon's at school working in the office, and you walk in, and does Brandon say, "Hey, what's up, Brandy?"
Well, we'll go back. We'll go back before that.
Okay.
Before that. Okay, summer, after junior year, summer.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to my senior year, feeling myself a little bit, wanted to, be a player or whatnot. And I had some guilt about it. God put some guilt on my heart about it. So basically, I just prayed. I was like, if you don't want me to pursue this lifestyle, then show me who my wife is, basically.
What?
I went bold like that, not expecting any answer.
Go big or go home.
I went to sleep, and I had this extensive dream. It was extensive to the point that I actually told my mother. And I'm not a mama's boy, but I went to tell her about it. And basically I told her, she actually remembered the details more than me. I told her there was a girl whose name was like mine. She was coming to my school. She came from, a tough background. And I was my wife. So first day of school, I was looking for her, basically.
Wow.
Actually, over the summer, I actually forgot about the dream. But as the school year was coming, I kept having reoccurring clips of the dream every night. Like, it was just coming to my memory like every night. So when I went the first day of school, I was looking for Brandy, and I didn't know it was Brandy, but I was looking for her. Mm-hmm. And I was disappointed because first day of school, I didn't see anybody new. And then the second day of school was when I was sitting in the attendance office, sitting in there. Me and my buddy was listening to the Isley Brothers because we didn't have nothing to do. And I looked down the hallway, and I felt like it was an earthquake. Literally, I felt like it was an earthquake, but it was a personal earthquake. Mm-hmm. And then I saw a family coming down the hallway. And nobody ever came in the attendance office. We always go out and pick up folders and come back. And they actually came into the office. And there was a problem at the time because there was two young girls. It was her and her stepsister, her dad and her stepmom. So now I'm sitting here. For some reason, I was confused. I was like, this is not cool. Which one is it? But it should have dawned on me that the only one I was actually having a conversation with was Brandy. We were talking about wrestling. We just kind of started talking right off the bat. So it should have been obvious to me. But so I waited it out, and I used to see Brandy. I used to stand at a certain place with my friend Jonathan every day. And she used to come down the hallway. So I used to wave because I knew she was a new girl at the school and everybody was going to be hollering at her. Mm-hmm. So the easiest thing for her to get used to saying was no. So I was just waiting every day, waving as she come down so she familiarized herself with me and I didn't look like a predator,
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome.
So it was one night, I guess, I don't know how many weeks went by, but it was one night that I had pressure on me real heavy. You got to talk to her tomorrow. So I'm like, oh, I got to talk to her tomorrow. I'm like, it's pressure on me, really heavy. You got to talk to her tomorrow. So I'm like, okay. So I'm standing in my same spot. I'm telling my boy, I got to talk to her today. And he's like, really? You gonna actually holler at her? She been telling everybody no. She gonna tell you no. I'm like, we'll see. So she comes down the hallway. The sun just hits her as she's walking down the hallway. She has her hair up in a bun. She's dressed all nice. Just like she's like looking really good. And I'm like, oh wow, like, oh. I gotta speak to her today, you know. This is awesome. So she comes down. I'm like, come here for a minute. So she comes over and I, talk to her real quick and, I asked her for a number and she gives it to me. And I heard the spiel was, her line was she had a boyfriend, so she would never give nobody her number. Okay. And she had a picture apparently in her binder that she would show every guy that asked for a number. But that's what the rumor was. But she gave me her number and I was like, okay. So then we started talking on the phone and getting to know each other and stuff. And, it went from there.
Wow. Did you run out and tell your guy friends, or did you just keep it to yourself for a little bit?
I kept it to myself for a while, but guys were disrespectful in the locker room, and they would talk a bunch of trash and tell a bunch of lies that I knew was lies. So a few of them, I'd just be like, I know she ain't like it. I'm friends with her, you know what I'm saying? We're friends or whatever. So I would kind of defend her honor against some of the guys lying because I knew they were lying. And then there was a couple people, not everybody, a couple people I told them that she was gonna be my wife.
Wow.
There was a select few people I actually told.
Yeah. Did you tell any of your friends about the dream you had, or is that just your mom knew about that?
My mom knew about it. I think my buddy Jonathan knew about it.
His mom is actually the one who told me about it.
Aww.
Yeah, I didn't even tell her.
That's such a vulnerable and personal thing. And, the story it reminds me of from the Bible is Joseph, and he might have done it in a little bit of a braggadocious way when he was telling his brothers that someday they would bow down to him. Right. And they were like, what? And it was true. He saw it in a dream. And then they, the story where they put him in the well and then they sold him and all of that. But that just kind of, I do believe God speaks to us in dreams if our heart is open to hearing from him, right? And and he knows our intentions and he knows what's coming up. That is such a beautiful story. Have you shared that much?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. I've shared a little bit, but.
Well, I guess that might not be the typical question that people interviewing you ask.
No, it comes up every once in a while. But it was one of them. It's one of them journey things. It kind of tested me. It kind of tested my faith and challenged me in a way to make me kind of grow closer to God, because He tells you something and then He tests you a little bit. He didn't give it to me right away, because that end of that semester, she ends up leaving and going back to Hawaii. So that kind of broke my heart. I didn't go to prom. I didn't go to prom. I didn't care about prom. I didn't care about any of that kind of stuff.
Brandon.
I was broken. I was like, how can you do this? How can you? But he had a better plan.
He was preparing you for what y'all are doing now.
Yeah, I wasn't ready at all.
But think about it, the situation you're in now. You're in Kuwait, she's in Tennessee, and you got. Now thankfully we've got these videos and stuff we can do to interact. But just think about how he was preparing you back then for what you're walking through right this minute with the time apart.
Oh yeah, it goes even more. It goes even more than that.
I'm so sure.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's very similar now, because back then, all we had was the phone to communicate. So just like now, luckily we have video now, but Brandon used to work at the YMCA after we graduated from high school, and he would buy calling cards and he would call me from the front desk at the gym all the time.
Oh, the calling card. Yep.
Yeah, and
Long
and, you know, say
distance.
like you got 1 minute left.
Ah!
Oh, Max is home. This is Max, guys. He just got
Hi,
home from
Max.
football.
Hi.
Marvelous. You want to say hi, Marv? Oh, here's I am again.
Where's Marvelous? Hi, Marvelous. I'm Monica. Nice to meet you guys. And there's Zion. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Well, I just adore that story, and I know that people watching, there's a lot of my friends on here and people that appreciate marriage and relationships. So that's really, really special to share. So, okay, so going back to there, I have a couple questions for you, Brandon. Number one, I want to hear about, how you got into bodybuilding, because obviously you are Mr. Olympia right now, and I know this is such a big part of your career and who you are, but I know it doesn't identify who you are, because if you know the Lord, then you're identified through Him. But this is a big part of who you are, and rightfully so. But I want to know. I can't get over Zion. I'm trying to be very professional, but yet I adore kids, so I'm like, oh, he's so cute. Sorry, trying to okay. So you mentioned that helped you grow closer to God, and I'm about faith and fitness all day long, and to me, sometimes the spiritual walk is so much more important, because then you can do the physical walk when your spirit is strengthened. So I'm curious if you could share what you meant by that, and if however deep you want to go is fine, and however shallow you want to keep it is fine. But also I want to hear how you got into bodybuilding, because obviously that's a big part of our
first thing I think of is looking back on it, it's how like God kind of develops a relationship with you. You say it's kind of like we think we develop a relationship with God, but God kind of calls us and we develop a relationship with Him, because He shows us different things. He pursues us in different ways and gets our attention.
Mm-hmm.
But then He also reveals to us how Himself, how He is and how He does things. And He always does things in an orderly fashion, and always to the best, for your best interest, even though you don't think so at the time. So, when I'm walking through life and I'm looking back on different things, I'm thinking, oh, He was preparing me for this, preparing me for this. Like Brandy was the first person to tell me that I should be a bodybuilder.
Yep.
When I grow up, that's literally what she said. You should be a bodybuilder when you grow up.
Zion was just whispering that into my ear. He was like, "Can I tell them why Daddy became a bodybuilder?"
all because I turned a backflip and she saw my abs, and she's.
Yeah, I never saw his body, So him and some other friends took me to Opryland to see Christmas decorations, because we didn't
nice.
have it like that in Hawaii. So they took me to see it, and he was a gymnast most of his life growing up. So he was showing off a little bit and did a backflip off of a chair, and his shirt flipped up, and I saw muscles, and I said, "You should be a bodybuilder when we grow up." And he was like, "I'm never getting on stage in Speedos." And I was like, well, "Okay, whatever." He called me a year later and told me that he said, "You'd never believe what I just did." I was like, "What was that?" And he said, "I just competed in my first bodybuilding show and I won." And he was telling me this little website to look up and see him. And I remember sitting at an office chair, and I literally fell off of my chair laughing.
Oh my gosh!
Because I couldn't believe he did it.
Yeah.
Were you back? Go ahead, Brandon.
I was playing college football at the time, and I was getting frustrated with some of the politics of the game. So I went and I actually went and looked for a gym outside of campus to go train, and I met some trainers there and some powerlifters there. And one of the trainers, he kept asking me if I wanted to compete, and I kept telling him no. I'm like, "I'm just here to work out." He's like, "You want to compete?" He asked me like 4 or 5 times. His name was Robert Weems, but he asked me like 4 or 5 times, and I guess the 5th time or so I said okay, because I thought about it. I'm like, I'm in here training. I'm done with playing football. I can't take it anymore. So I said I might as well do some of my time in here. So he showed me how to pose, and he gave me a diet. And 4 weeks later, I won the novice class, middleweight class, and the overall at the show, and I was hooked. So that's what I call
Wow.
Brandy about, so I competed. So.
And I just laughed so hard I fell out of my chair.
Did you have to complain about the Speedos?
Nah, one of the things about being on stage is you got to think about presenting yourself well, that you don't even think about what you have on.
Right. Unless you're a girl and you're worried about your bikini coming unglued or going up your butt or something like that. Or your heels slipping.
Yeah.
He knows about that stuff.
He actually did a flip on stage to end
his clothing routine.
Oh, that's great. That is great. Okay, so there's so many different dynamics here. You had wrestling and you had gymnastics. Did you actually compete in gymnastics, Brandon?
Oh, no, I didn't ever. That's probably why I quit gymnastics, because I wasn't able to compete. The facility that I was training at was female dominated.
Oh.
And
his father was an instructor, so
I was getting bigger. I was growing as it was time to learn more, and there weren't people that could catch me and manipulate me the way that you need to be manipulated.
You couldn't be spotted.
Yeah, so I was.
Brandon's up. Everyone's got to go. You catch him. No, you catch him.
I was just, and I was frustrated about not being able to excel. So I never really competed because we didn't have the male side of the men there didn't compete. We just, we just did a lot of training and stuff. We did shows and we did different things in the community, but we never competed.
Well, you probably had too big of a leg. You had your legs were too big probably for gymnastics. And a lot of the men seem like, and maybe that's just from the years of the training, but you have such, enormous legs. And I'm sure you had big legs back then from track and wrestling and football. So I'm sure your quads and hamstrings and calves and everything were developed. So I think in my opinion, I mean, I've done some gymnastics obviously in my past, but it seems like a lot of the men end up with these giant bodies, upper bodies, and their legs just, they're muscled, but they're not in comparison because it's such a upper body dominant sport for men primarily. So I would assume getting your legs around on things and up things. That's probably why people didn't want to catch you either, your big old trunks.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say my legs were that big because I started gymnastics before I started a lot of other sports.
Okay.
So but as I grew and as I advanced, I was really explosive, and I don't think anybody wanted to catch me in certain positions when I'm trying to spin and do these kind of things. I think they were afraid of maybe getting an elbow or
Yeah.
something like that. So.
I'm sure that takes a special person to be able to catch somebody of your size, and even and back then I'm sure you were still big, even if you're not being modest right now. So okay, so track. I am track junkie. You might have heard a little bit of my story there leading into this. I'm all day long track junkie. I was on the track today, just praising God for being on the track. What did you run? I'm going to say, I'm going on a limb that you were a sprinter.
Oh yeah.
And what were your races, events, and what was your favorite events?
Well, I ran the 100, of course. I ran the 4x1 and the 4x2.
Okay.
Once in a while, I ran a 200.
Okay.
I had a coach that wanted me to run a 400. He promised me by the end of the year I'd run a 400. Mm-hmm. So he started training me to run a 400, and I was running 300s. Mm-hmm. And my body just started breaking down. I was getting shin sprints. I was getting rowing pulls. Mm-hmm. My body just did not want to run 400. Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, thank you, body.
So I never ended up running because I was getting too wore down and injured just trying to train to run a 400. So, but my favorite was the 100. I wish I would have ran indoor because I would have probably been even better at the 60. I was very good at starting. I was the lead also on the 4x1 and the 4x2. Okay. So I was very good at running the turns as well.
You could explode out of there. I had a track coach one time tell me the start has to be, he said aggressive, and he would say it's almost like an angry kind of, power. And one of the things that my mom taught me was praying for dunamis power. It's the power of the Holy Spirit to push you through that start. So I know when I was competing for myself, because I ran the 1, 2, 4, I always prayed those kind of prayers before I'd go, because that start has to be explosive, right? It sounds like
all power and aggression. That was my nickname basically. My nickname was Bam Bam growing up. So
get mad. You have to get mad at that start and make it happen. Like,
I loved it though. I loved it. It was my favorite part.
Well, I don't know if you saw my smile get bigger talking about track. I'm like, and that 400, it's one of those races. You either love it or you love to hate it, or you hate to love it. One of the two, but I do both. And so, yeah, that 400.
Monica, actually, if you look at the people who are watching us live, you'll see someone commenting named Quitman.
Yes.
And that is a cousin of Brandon's. And his daughter, Diamond Spalding, was actually, I think, the second ranked number. Quitman was ranked number 2 in the country. She ran 200, I believe, at Texas A&M. And she just graduated and is now a professional runner.
That is so fun to hear. In fact, while you said Quitman, I need to say Quitman is our winner of our first prize. So Quitman's been on here before. Yes.
What's up, cuz? What's up, cuz?
So Quitman, you know the routine here. I am happy to send you your product. The first one is from Aloe. I can't remember what he won. He won one of these previously, so I don't remember which, but Quitman, if you're wanting this one, by all means, I'd love to send it to you. You know the deal. Just send me your shipping address again, please. I may not have saved it. And if you've already won Aloe Life International and you want to donate to somebody else, by all means, you can let me know about that. But I'm happy to send it to you. So Quitman got the Carbon Culture. You're co-founder of your gym, Carbon, right? So that gym is in Tennessee. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have two. We have one in Franklin and one in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, right outside. Both of them right outside of Nashville.
Okay.
And hopefully by the end of the year we'll get one in Dallas with partner with Steve.
Texas. That's great. That's great. How long have you guys had the gyms?
We started
January.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
The first one opened up in January, and our second location, we had just opened up in September. So
of this year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So opening a gym during COVID and the lockdowns and all of that, that's gutsy. That's aggressive.
Hey, God still blessed it.
We ended up like closing 3 weeks after, and 3 weeks because of the lockdown.
Right.
But fortunately, we was able to open back up and would be one of the first gyms actually up and running in the area. Yeah. And a lot of the bigger gyms and some of the corporate gyms are still closed because they had so much to keep up with facility wise, and the mandates in the city were kind of harder for them to keep up with. So we actually recruited a lot of members because of other gyms not being able to open as quick as we were. So it worked in our favor, and it's a hard year to open up a business, but we're still doing okay. So we can't complain.
I like how Brandy says God's still blessing, and I think that's walking through this for people. You either are able to have the right attitude about this whole crazy year and say, God, this is still your year, and I'm still going to praise you and rejoice, like the Zion song, right, that he sang before the show started. Or you sit back and you want to, badmouth the year and say this year's horrible and whatever, and take all the, glory away from the Lord. So I think that you guys sound like you're on the right path, in your heart and in your mind and in your relationships, and it's just God is going to bless and open those doors up for you guys. So that's encouragement to hear.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it hasn't been, aside from COVID, we have had a lot of difficulties, but we, it's always best to keep things positive. On February 1st, we actually lost a baby. And then earlier this year, I lost my mother's only sister, and just a few weeks ago, lost my father's only brother. So, we've had our fair share of struggles and whatnot.
Oh my goodness.
It's just,
I didn't know. Wow. So I'm so sorry to hear you lost a baby, but Oh man, I read something. I read a not something. Excuse me. I read a scripture in Ecclesiastes, and it talks about and I've never been able to get pregnant. I've never had God's never blessed me with children. I have godchildren that I adore and love, and I get to enjoy. I've just never been able to get pregnant. Not that I haven't wanted to, because I had a lot of people ask me about that. So just throwing that out there. But so I can't speak from experience. I can only read what the Lord says about things in His Word, and He says that sometimes it's better to have not lived in this life and to be with the Lord. And I'll have to find that scripture for you in Ecclesiastes, because it is such a beautiful remembrance of where that child is.
Yeah.
And man, that just chokes me up.
The name that, with all of our children, we name them, every single one of their names were names that, we felt God put on our hearts to name each child before they were born. And with this pregnancy, the name that we had was Zakaiah, and it meant pure. It means pure. And I really didn't understand fully why that name and meaning until after I had, I actually was in labor. I had full labor and delivery with him.
Wow.
And then it all made sense afterwards.
Wow. That's a beautiful testimony. And, I just know that he's waiting there for you. And when you guys someday walk into heaven, however we get into heaven, if we're flying or walking or whatever it is, he's going to be there waiting to greet you guys. And that's such a beautiful thing to think about. I know it's got to be really hard to walk through it here in person at the time, but wow,
Sure.
That's beautiful.
Sure. I still was on a boy streak, so.
You were on a boy. Yes, you were. Brandon's all proud. Still got that boy going.
Yeah.
Well, that's unusual for us bodybuilders,
Yeah,
Well,
I was shocked when they brought him to me after I had given birth. Maybe it was just because I was just like, I'm so ready for another girl, and they showed him to me, and they were like, it's a boy, and I was like, huh? Oh boy.
That's cute. Well, here's the thing that I'm seeing is that God knows what kind of men you're raising, and we need more of those men in our world. So that's probably what God knows is going to be happening. You're going to have some pretty powerful men as they start growing up, and they have parents like you guys. And we need those boys in this world. So I found the scripture. It's Ecclesiastes 4. And I'm just going to read it really quick here, if my context will let me. I've got some little blurry context. And it says, and I declared that the dead who had already died are happier than the living who are still alive. But better than both is the one who has never been born, who has not seen the evil that is done under the sun. And I just said, well, that child or that person that has not, been here is up in heaven and just having the time of his life. So I read that, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and I thought, I know a lot of women who've not, had stillborn or had miscarriages, and I just felt like that was just an uplifting scripture. If I guess maybe it's not, but I felt like it was too.
Yeah, no, it brings peace, and just reassurance.
Wow. Okay, so Brandon, I know you said you got into bodybuilding because Brandy said, oh, you should compete, and then you were there and you won everything, and you're like ready to go full steam from there. Is that kind of what happened?
Well, it was. I was bodybuilding as a hobby. I didn't want to make bodybuilding a career. That wasn't even in my thought process. I was fitness modeling as well. Doing
fitness
stuff for
modeling.
Muscle and Fitness and whatnot, doing little shoots and spreads for them. And,
I'm sorry, the way you said that was just kind of cute, like fitness modeling.
I was.
Okay.
I was that fitness model guy. But I showed up to a Muscle and Fitness shoot one day at Dr. Dre's gym in LA. And the staff of Muscle Fitness looked at me and says, Brandon, we think this is going to be your last Muscle and Fitness shoot. I was like, huh? says, look like you're going to be going to Flex. I'm thinking, Flex was just for pro bodybuilders, you know? But they
Speaking
were
over
on to
you.
something. They were on to something because the next year, I think I didn't win my pro card, but I did really well at the USA's, and I ended up getting a flex contract and a supplement contract with BSN, of course. We worked together that year. So yeah.
What year was that?
That was 2007.
That's right. That's right. We did work together.
Yes.
At BSN?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because I contacted BSN when they just had Ronnie, and I said, I got in touch with the owner through a friend of mine, a mutual friend, and I said, hey, because he said something about BSN. I said, hey, can you put me in touch with the owner? And he said, sure. So I called the owner out, and he's like, this is really Monica Brandt. I said, yeah. I said, you need a female athlete. He's like, we do? And I was like, yeah. I was like, and I should be your female athlete. I mean, you got Ronnie Coleman, you got all these guys coming to your booth. You probably need a female there to, like balance it out a little bit. So they were like, so maybe 4 or 5 months go by and I ended up with the first female contract out of that, but it was fun. That was a good company to be with. So that's right. That's right. Great memories.
I didn't really think I was going to get into pro bodybuilding until it was 06. I got invited to go to the Olympia with my manager. My manager had me coming out there for looking for opportunities like contracts. Plus, he had the Rose to the Pros model contest, which Flex Ruler put on, and I think Jamie Easton won that year. But on my way there, on the plane, I got this intense feeling that I was going to see Brandy there.
Oh.
And where I was at the expo, I was mid handshake with I think the champion arm wrestler at the time, and I didn't even complete the handshake because Brandy said my name, and I looked up and I was like, I think I put my hand on his shoulder like this. Didn't even complete the handshake, and I looked over and I saw her, and I just went over and we just kind of hugged. I was like,
yeah.
And that's like the first time I seen her in what, baby, like 7 years or something like that.
No, it was 06, honey. We graduated in 01 then. And then I came to visit I came to visit in 2001. So it was about 5 years. We had kept in touch a lot over the years. But 2006 Olympia, he was there with his manager, and I was actually a current reigning Miss Hawaiian Tropic USA.
Okay.
So I wasn't actually brought there from competing in fitness or anything, but there was a company called Iron Tech and Biochem. They were owned by the same umbrella company, but they had brought me over to the Olympia to represent them.
Okay.
In their booth in 2006. So I was actually there signing autographs as a Miss Hawaiian Tropic USA. And I just remember looking down and I was signing a photo for a fan, and it was like kind of like how Brandon mentioned he felt like a personal earthquake, and it was like I felt the same type of a presence, and it was like a voice said look up. And so I just remember mid signing a photo and I looked up and it was like way across the hall, but I go, Brandon.
Oh.
And I thought I whispered, but he heard me. So he looked up, I guess mid handshake, and then he came on over and we hugged, and then it was like after that we went to the Arnold the next year. The same company brought me out to the Arnold to work for them, and he was there with his manager again. So he actually came to hang out in my booth while I was working because he didn't have a booth. So he'd be there hanging out with me while I was, signing pictures and whatnot. And then 2007 was actually when he and I both signed with Weider Publications.
Okay.
And we actually signed the same week.
Wow.
With Weider. I had just won the first ever Flex Bikini model search. And that's how I ended up signing on with Weider, and his management had got him on with Weider. And we found out that we signed the same week because the editor-in-chief at the time, Peter McGough, his wife, and had told us. We ended up at a photo shoot at their house and told them we had just eloped, and she told us this cute little story and said that, she goes, you guys signed with Leader the same week, and we really had no idea. She said, yeah. She said that she had both of our contracts side by side on her desk while we were negotiating them, and she would get them mixed up because it would have our middle name, then first name on the contracts, and both of our middle name is Lee. So it would have
my goodness.
Lee, Brandy. So all of our kids actually have Lee as a middle name as well.
This is like a fairy tale story.
Well, let me tell you about that 07 when she's at the booth, having all the Muscle Tech bodybuilders hitting on her and stuff like this.
Boy.
This was the same year. This is the same year that I actually took a photo at the BSN booth.
Okay.
And I had on a hat. I took off my shirt. My manager was introducing me to somebody. They wanted a photo, and I hit a double bicep.
Okay.
Well, they had took this photo. My first signature ended up being my first signature card, like a year later for BSN. They had cropped my hat off, made a fake background, and it was the first. I was like, where did they get this picture from? Not knowing I had took it the year before at the booth at the Arnold, which was crazy. But going back to when I saw Brandy, it was the first time I was actually got to go to an Olympia. And we had talked to Flex Wheeler, and he said he was going to put me on the list because all the models got to go with the Weeder booth. You know how they had the box at the top with free food, free drinks, and all that kind of stuff up there?
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
We all got to go to that. And he said he was going to put me on the list, but I was doubting he was going to put me on the list because I was really a nobody, and then I didn't compete. But we get there in a group together, and the lady looks at us, and she looks at the list, and she says, "Oh, you guys all look the part." And she said, "Y'all going upstairs." So she didn't even check the list. And I ended up upstairs, and I got to see. I know you were up there. I got to see all the people I saw in the magazines, and I was looking up to. And then all of a sudden, the crowd went crazy. And Ronnie came out with the Bodybuilding 10 Commandments, dressed as Moses. And so I started looking. I'm like, oh, my goodness. And I'm thinking I'm there. I thought I was there to see Ronnie Coleman break the record. That's what I thought I was there to see.
Okay.
I'm here to see Ronnie break the record. I'm like, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden, they did the Olympia. It was up to him and Jay. And they announced Jay as the winner. Now, I know the crowd went crazy and went nuts, but for me, the room got silent, and I looked at that stage, and I felt like I just saw the impossible happen. And I knew right then in my spirit that I was going to be on that stage, and that's when I pursued bodybuilding. I knew I was going to be a pro bodybuilder. After that, that's when everything took off. I went from being a light heavyweight, unconfident guy at the junior nationals to being a top heavyweight at the USA's the very next season. So it was it just turns the switch on to me, and it was like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. I was looking for purpose this whole time. I was actually asking God, like, where I was looking for purpose. I was praying about purpose, and this whole time I've been walking in this industry like haphazardly as a hobby, and it just like laid on me right there. Right there at the pinnacle of what I thought was going to be a record-breaking year. So.
Wow,
then a year later, powerful. I was actually giving out the checks on stage at the Olympia. Like this is whirlwind. Everything happened so fast.
It sounds like it. I mean, and there's just like one fun story after another. So before we go on, I mean, we are almost at 8:00, and I feel like there's so much more that I want to hear. I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to the rapid fire questions now. Okay. So just so you guys viewing know that these are just fun, random questions, and I have questions set up for both of you to answer. So again, they're called rapid fire for a reason. We're supposed to talk, go through them fast. But it's hard for me sometimes when there's a great story to talk about. Let's do the rapid fire questions, and then we're going to we're gonna take a really quick break, but no one can go anywhere. We'll just take a quick little break. Here's our second question, though. So those of you that want to participate in the second giveaway, let me find my question. We already know it. And this is for Egg White International, one of our sponsors. Thank you, Egg White International. The best liquid gold ever. What is the name of the son whose name does not start with an M? So whoever gets that name first in the comment section wins the next prize. Good answer. Good answer. Okay. So are you guys ready for your rapid fire questions?
Quimmin can't answer. Your family. You know.
He's shirtless. Quimmin
Yeah,
can't answer.
he's been working out. He took his shirt off and started working out behind the camera.
Oh my gosh. See, I have a whole slew of questions for I almost said his name. Okay, but we're gonna go on. Rapid fire questions. Okay. First question is, let's see, Brandy, let's have you answer this one first. The first thing you noticed, Brandon, the first thing you noticed about Brandy was when you first saw her. Yes.
Oh man, I think I was. She had when I met her, when I saw her for the first time, she had really dark hair, but it looked like it had a slightly bluish tint to it.
Oh, it's so shiny.
I don't know if it was of the ends or something, but that's one of the first things I noticed about her. Of course, besides being beautiful, but that was one of the first things I noticed.
That's fun. What? Okay, I have a question. So sometimes when that dark hair is just so healthy and shiny, it kind of has like that iridescent kind of blue. Or was there really maybe a blue dye in it, Brandy, or was it just so healthy that it had that shine to it?
I know what he's talking about. I actually would dye my hair like black, jet black. So I think that jet black would be so black it would almost have like a bluish look to it.
Pretty.
So
Very
that's
pretty.
kind of funny because I used to do that.
First thing, Brandy, that you noticed about Brandon.
He had the best manners I had ever, and that was a big part of why I trusted him and befriended him, because he had nothing but respect. And I mean, even when he would meet me at this, like the end of this hallway to walk me to my show choir class, he would like perch his arm up for me to rest my arm on top of his. I mean, he was the perfect gentleman, and I was drawn to that, and I had a certain level of comfort, and that was literally from the second he said hello. He was just a gentleman.
Oh, well, I know that is because of his faith and his family raising him right. Okay, this is the question for both of you. Name one food that you don't like to share with anyone else.
That'd be my fruit snacks, but you know.
Yeah.
But I've been breaking that habit. Every time I go to the cabinet, the kids in there, I pull something out for them.
Who's eating my fruit snacks?
Yeah.
I put them up high though, so they can't have free food.
Okay, Brandy, what about you?
Oh man, you know what? I'm a people pleaser, so I enjoy feeding people more than I enjoy eating it myself.
Okay, so you don't mind sharing anything.
Yeah,
she comes from a family of 8. Sharing was a must.
Sharing is caring. All right. Okay. So let's see. Brandon, describe your first date in 3 words.
First date, hi. First time I seen fake. That's it. I guess that's too many words. Sorry.
3 words that describe your first date, like adjectives.
Oh, because I'm thinking it was high. Oh, let's see. On top of the world. Let's put it this way. On top. Well, that's 4 words.
That's
on top
okay.
of the world.
We'll take it. If you say it fast, it sounds like 1 word. What about you, Brandon? I'm Brandy. Sorry. See you. Oh, sorry. No. Brandy, I had a different question. Describe your wedding day in 3 words. Adjectives. Oh, did we frozen. She's frozen. Oh no, we might have to come back. Brandon, we'll keep going until we get her back. Let me see here. Okay, name your favorite type of dance if you're going to dance with Brandy, what would that be?
If I was gonna dance with Brandy,
Uh-huh.
it has to be some booty shaking.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Name one thing that Brandy does to help you become the best version of yourself.
Oh man, everything I'm not good at, she doesn't mind helping me with, taking over.
Aww.
So that's organizing, planning, communication, all those kind of things.
Oh, you balance each other out. God knew who you needed and who she needed. That's awesome. Okay, who is the bad cop and disciplinarian if there has to be one of you?
Well, I'm like, I can't say I'm the biggest disciplinarian, but I'm like the final judge. So if I'm involved, then there is some serious trouble.
And the hammer's coming down. Does Brandy ever get to say, "Wait till your father comes home"?
Yeah. Sometimes she makes me. She tags me in, and once she tags me in, they know they're in trouble.
Oh no!
She's had enough.
Yeah, and then she just hands the baton off to you and says, "Have fun." Okay, cool. What part? Let's see. Hang on a sec. When you're apart, how many times a day do you talk or text?
Well, it kind of depends on if I'm sleeping or not. Only time I'm not talking or texting her is normally when I'm sleeping or when I'm training. So
Okay.
it has to be. Man, we talk on some days. We talk all day. I mean, it's different every day, but
Yeah.
goodness gracious, I don't even know.
So many
More
things.
than my
Right?
hands can probably add up.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. All right. Well, speaking of that, real quick, how many hours a day do you actually sleep, or is it all broken up?
Well, it is broken up quite a bit. I mean, I probably sleep an average of 4 hours overnight, and then I get up and do some cardio. I get some food in, and I'll probably sleep maybe another 3 or 2. So I don't sleep much, but I don't sleep much when I'm home either.
Okay. Just kind of broken up, but you get it in. There she is. Welcome back.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
You gotta
That's
ask some questions now.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, we'll go back. So we found out that you like to share everything. And then I asked the next questions were, who was the bad cop disciplinarian of your children if there had to be one? And I know Brandon gave me his answer. So what would you say?
Who was the bad?
Who's the bad cop?
Well, if you have to be a disciplinarian with your children, is it you or is it Brandon?
Me.
You?
Yeah.
But do you ever get to say, wait till your father comes home?
Yeah,
I call him a lot. I always tell him I'm calling your dad.
There you go. I guess that's is the new way of saying it instead of wait till your father comes home, especially in your situation. It would be like, I'm going to call your father right now. You're in trouble.
Oh yeah, every time.
You don't straighten up, quit hitting your brother or whatever the case, right? Okay.
Yep.
Describe, or in 3 words, describe your wedding day with 3 adjectives. That's good.
That's a story in itself.
I'm sure. We probably need like 3 more hours.
Honey, did you say anything about our wedding day?
Nope.
No, I gave him.
Monica,
I gave him a
totally different show. But I would
Come
say
back,
unpredictable. I would say it was literally, there's no one word.
3 words. Unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
Marvelous.
Exciting.
Exciting. Oh, I see dumbbells.
Adventure.
Okay. We'll go with those. Are good. Well, I asked Brandon 3 words to describe y'all's first date, and he said out of the world. He gave 4 words.
On top of the world.
On top of the world. Sorry. Yes.
I know.
Yep. Okay. And Brandy, back to you again. What type of dance, if you're going to dance with Brandon, would you like to do out of any kind of dance?
Slow dance.
Slow dance. Oh, he said booty shaking, so. So you can have slow dance, booty shake, slow dance. There's some songs like that. Well, that's fun. All right, Brandy, up to you here. Name one thing that Brandon does for you that helps you be the best version of yourself?
Accountability.
Ooh, okay. That's good. That's
Yeah,
deep.
I
That's so
don't,
deep.
I lost both of my parents, so I don't really have that parental advisory, that a lot of people have, or, the accountability that comes from parents. And so he's been that for me.
Oh, that's precious. That really is. That's okay. I better go on because I get choked up and in the moment. So I'm still trying to get used to this host thing, but it's fun. Okay. And I asked Brandon this already, so you can answer this too. And I just kind of said, when you're apart, like now, how many times a day are you on the phone, talking, texting, videoing? Is there even a number? Not even a number.
Oh man, it's constant all day.
50.
50.
Time to 50.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Is it you mean good days or bad days? Because I think bad days you text more.
Probably. I have a lot more to say.
Oh, that's great. Okay, Brandon, if you could walk in another famous bodybuilder's shoes for a week, who would it be?
Oh, that's oh my goodness. I don't want to imagine being in nobody else's shoes.
Well, this is a question you have to be. You just, just a week, and it could be in the prime of their career.
Arnold.
Yeah,
Arnold.
yeah, I would say Arnold because he seems like he's got a lot of experiences and a life experience in a lot of different areas. So yeah, I think Arnold would probably be the most interesting shoes to walk in.
I think you're right about that, and I think it'd be really cool to have been in the era that he was the prime of his career. And well, I guess you could. His career is expanded over so many things. We talked about bodybuilder, but then if you think about him being an actor and then a politician, and you're like, wow, that's pretty good. That's good. Brandy, what about you for the female events? It could be bodybuilder, figure, bikini, fitness. Is there anyone that you would say it'd be kind of fun for a week to be in their shoes and just to experience what they might have experienced?
Oh man.
And you don't have to say me. I'm not trying to look for that answer. I'll just take that off the plate. Don't even think.
Actually, the first time I spoke with you, I told you I was a huge Monica Brandt fan. I've been for a long time.
Oh, stop. Don't stop.
I would say, I'd be really interested to have seen a lot of the things I think someone like Linda Murray may have seen. And
Oh, yeah. That's good. I like that. That's good. I hope to get her on the show. I've messaged her, but I haven't heard back from her yet. But I'm hoping to get her on the show. So, yeah. Okay, so, I have one more question here. I have my writing here. Okay, name, and this is for both of you. Brandon, you can go first. Name one habit the other one has that makes you laugh. So name one habit that Brandy has that makes you laugh.
Habit that makes me laugh.
I didn't want to make it negative. It has to be fun.
Makes me laugh.
Or smile.
Well, yeah, I can laugh at it now every time she leaves something open. I've got so used to it. It makes me laugh.
Oh, the little things that when you're not together, you're like, man, I really would like to have that right now, right? Makes you smile. That's good. That's good. Okay, Brandy, what about you? A habit that Brandon does that makes you smile or laugh or just have that jolly feeling?
I don't know why, but I always get kind of tickled whenever I just see him sprawled out on the couch, just like, and he just falls asleep. Just taking a nap. Yep, Marvelous is demonstrating perfectly right now because they all know what I'm talking about. You come into the house and he will be on a random spot on a random couch, and he'll just be sprawled out. And it just makes me happy whenever he can get some rest.
Right, when he can be, and I've said this to my husband before. I said, there's something special about falling asleep on your sofa. Like, I don't want to sleep on my sofa all night. It's not comfortable enough for that. And I want to go to bed but there's something when you can fall asleep on your sofa or lounge chair or whatever it is, because at that moment you're just at a really good state of peace, and you're not necessarily. And this is just my thoughts of why is it so good to sleep on a couch for even a short nap or something? Because then it's not like you're having to think about waking up the next morning and all the stuff you have to do. You're actually in a really relaxed state, right? You're just like, wow, I can actually just take a little nap right now and not think about anything for a little while, like as if you were, an animal who's taking a nap. So that's kind of a neat opportunity and much needed sometimes. I don't think we give ourselves enough opportunity for that kind of practice.
Yeah, he's a napper. He's a napper.
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. So, okay, we're going to go to a very short break, and it looks like we might have a winner. Kona, did you message me on the winner if you want to highlight our winner? I'm seeing Ruben Jorges is our Zion winner. Winner, chicken dinner. Ruben. Congratulations, Ruben and Zion. Thank you for letting us use you and your name for a prize tonight. That's so fun. That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to go to a really short break. Don't go anywhere. And when we come back, unless Brandon is super hungry, I'd like to just hear a little bit about your Olympia prep. And I don't want to keep you all night, but it'd be fun to just kind of share a little bit about that and you getting ready for the Olympia. So hopefully you're not too hungry and you can hang tight for another few minutes. Okay, you're good to go. Okay, Kona, you want to take us to a quick break? Don't go anywhere, guys, and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our third year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching the Tasty Pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
All right, we're back. Monica Brandt show here. I'm Monica Brandt, and we are talking to this beautiful family, Brandon, Brandy, Zion, and I'm assuming maybe Marvelous is still in the back, being marvelous. Awesome.
Not back anymore.
Oh, he's not back there anymore? Okay. So, Brandon, you're getting ready for the Olympia, and I'm so excited for you and all that you've been able to accomplish up to this point. And it's such a fun story to hear, how you started and all the little perks of you and Brandy's story. It's just such a beautiful story. I'm honored to have gotten to hear it. And I know the fans, the viewers are watching, probably have really enjoyed it, especially all the girls, because, I may have a handful of men that come on and hear this, but I do have a lot of women, so I'm sure that they all have enjoyed this romantic story. Whether y'all think it's romantic or not, it's really romantic. Has anyone ever told you guys have a romantic story?
No.
It is. It's so romantic.
Wow story to me.
Yeah.
It's wild, but it's very romantic, and it's just precious. All the different little pieces that, she felt and you felt, and, and how the earthquake and the silence, and then the whisper wasn't a whisper, and just all of these pieces and the contracts. And it's so fun to hear it all and just to have kind of lived through that as you're sharing it. Cause I can imagine being at the Olympia, and I can imagine being in these different environments and seeing being in those places and to feel what you're feeling for one another. And yet there's so many people around you each at those events, right? It's like there's people pulling, there's fans pulling, there's people asking for pictures, there's people wanting something from you every second that you're at that show or any show like that. And to be able to just kind of step out of all that distraction and to feel one another's presence it's just beautiful. Like I got choked up thinking about it. My heart is full. So I want to just kind of step off that romantic stage for a few minutes and get past all the mushy stuff. Brandon, can you share a little bit about where I know you're in Kuwait? We've heard that. Maybe just share kind of how'd you get to this position, being over there and your sponsor over there. It's a long ways from home, but I know it's going to be a great fit for what you need to do for yourself. How long have you been doing this training over there, and what does that look like and coming into the Olympia? I'm just going to ask these questions and you can kind of roll with the answer, because I know some of this will roll into one another. But, I know I have some people that are listening, a son of a very good friend of mine, Walker, who is a fan of yours, and he had a couple specific questions for you. So he wanted to, I'm going to throw them out there and you answer as you can with your full answer. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so here's the questions. I'm just going to put them together because there was a couple of them here that I thought were good. He said, after winning Mr. Olympia last year and the celebrating was over, what did you feel you needed to improve on for 2020 Olympia? So that's one. What improvements would you like to see in the bodybuilding industry for the future? If you want to share anything on that, by all means, you're welcome to. If that doesn't make sense in your answer, that's fine too. And let me see. I'm sorry, my eyesight is blurry right now, my contacts. He says, you have done a great job providing your physique updates and content on social media leading up to this Olympia. How important do you feel it is to stay connected with your fans in the sports? And then I have a question that I'll end with. So those are just kind of a few. If you just want to kind of roll with what you're thinking after all of that, I'm going to quit talking.
Well, after stepping off the stage at the Olympia last year, the first thing I thought about is, okay, that was a rough year. That seemed like a long year because I did the Arnold and the Olympia in the same year. Fortunate enough to win both. But I thought I wanted to bring better conditioning into the Olympia than I did. So that would be one of the things I want to be able to improve upon coming in this Olympia, which I think it'll be a lot easier with just one show and not doing the two shows so far apart, which I think made it a little bit more challenging on my metabolism than I wanted it to be, or I even knew that it could be. As far as changes in the industry, I mean, the industry seems to be moving in a good direction with some of the changes been going on in leadership. But of course, COVID has kind of put a damper on the industry. It looks like this year, but as far as the industry, I just wish it would grow and be a more incentive for the athletes and and all those involved, from the athletes to sponsors to fans, all those involved. Just more incentives, just the industry to grow and maybe get a little bit of mainstream money. That'd be great too. Let's see, what was the next one?
Talked about he complimented you on your social media and how you've kept up with everybody and showing your updates along the way, which I have to just say really quick. When I was getting, and I don't want to keep going back to myself, and I'm not trying to, but I'm trying to compare if I was competing today versus how I was when I was in my, my main competition years in Olympia and so forth, right? I could never see myself taking pictures and putting pictures of my progress out, like full body pictures. I mean, we didn't have social media back then, and sometimes we'd get magazine stuff, but nothing that was just kind of, here I am 9 weeks out, here I am 12 weeks out, here I am 6 weeks out, here's my abs every day. It's like, and the competitors nowadays, that's like this thing that everybody's doing. And I just look back at how I was and I was like, that would be so hard for me to do because I was always so private. I wanted to kind of save that.
Well,
So
I could feel you on that because before, I was in it before this, magazine era, before the social media area hit. Then the social media area hit, and you had to learn how important it became. So it's very important to interact with your fans, and it's a way of brand building, and people just they're inquisitive. They like to know what's going on in your life. So it's just that little bit I can do for them is it's kind of like a responsibility nowadays. I mean, I wouldn't reached 1 million followers without, putting myself out there on social media a little bit and kind of getting them an inside look. A lot of people say, no, you shouldn't show this, you shouldn't show that. But at the end of the day, the athlete's trying to improve on himself. If my pictures make you change your game plan, then that's great, because nobody's picture is going to make me change my game plan or anybody else. So I'll throw them out there if that's what they're doing. But it's just something for the fans, and I just hope they appreciate it and follow, get them excited, and promoting the brand, promoting the Olympia, my brand, as well as the overall brand of the Olympia, and getting the fans excited. I mean, we don't have, the magazines are kind of dying down, and all we have is really social media as the biggest platform, and we're not really in the mainstream. So we have to kind of put ourselves out there, get the fans excited, get them interested, and get them anticipating what's coming, which is the Olympia in 2020 in December. So it's all about fan excitement. I think, what'd you say about training?
Well, I just real quick before we go there, I feel like it's really sad to not have all the magazines as we used to. How do you feel about the era now where, it's just all social media and, we don't have that kind of, you almost have to build your own celebrity status, right? Because you don't have the magazines pushing the celebrities and creating that fan base for you. Now it's, we kind of have to get out there and make it for ourselves, right? So how do you feel about that? Do you miss, I guess maybe I should say, do you miss the bodybuilding magazines and having that kind of piece?
I miss the good old days. Days.
Oh, yes.
It was so much easier, just to kind of, have them feature you, have them promote you and put you out there like that. And of course, supplement contracts, magazine contracts are kind of tied together. So, it was just an easier time. You didn't have to extend yourself as much. Everybody didn't have to be in your business, and you were more the enigma,
Right.
And, the magazines would make sure they had all the good pictures and, all the edited stuff in there. And, social media is kind of raw. So anybody can take a picture out from anywhere and put it out there. And it's kind of raw, and everybody's going to judge you. So, I do miss the good old days, but I was fortunate enough to be able to participate in the good old days and know what those were. To appreciate the day.
Right. Speaking of the good old days, how early had you come out to Goldschirm Venice? Because I was out there in '95. I was there for 10 years, and I left in the end of 2005. I came to back to Texas. So when did you get out there? Were you ever living out there, or were you just traveling in and out of LA?
I was traveling in and out of LA as a fitness model.
Okay.
I don't know if I made it out to Venice until 06, but I know I was definitely out there in 07 for sure. But I was just in and out of LA. But I was able to go and visit the Woodland Hills office and stuff like that and do a tour.
Yes.
Actually, when I visited, I didn't get to visit Joe Weider's office. It actually caught fire. But my refrigerator caught fire, But I got to visit the Ben Weider's office, and it was just a cool place. It's like a museum, It's sad that, that place is not, what it was anymore. And, you have that experience. But, I got a taste of that scene, the Muscle Beach scene and whatnot. Probably not as active, as crazy as it was back in your day. But I got a little taste before it all ended.
Right.
So just enough to relate a little bit.
So I listened to your interview with Patrick on the Valuetainment. I really enjoy him, and I've got to listen to a lot of his interviews. He does such a great job, and he has such great, across the board, with all the different people he interviews. And I've heard Jay and Dorian Yates, and he talked to them, and he shared that, I think with both of them, he shared that he had my pictures up in his wall when he was in the Army or something. And so it was kind of fun. But I listened to your interview, and he made a comment that and I know this was last year, and I was curious if you knew, he had made a comment that they were looking at some property, a piece of office property that had been a publications property, and he didn't name it, but I was like, I wonder if it was the Weider offices, because he said it was a large property and the publication used to own it, and I was like, I wonder that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that, but I know I think they went to Glendale or something instead, right?
Okay, so it wasn't that.
But I mean, it could have been that property, but at the time, I think he said it just wasn't. I think the state of California at the time, it wasn't worth the money, and I think the area was a little bit, how California's having, of course, its problems,
Right.
So I think it was just more desirable. But I think he mentioned he kind of regretted not, because he wanted to go into a place. He likes going into a place where he wanted to be, wanted to be every day. He really looked forward to that. And I guess the Glendale office didn't quite have that effect.
Yeah.
But I think they went for it because it made financial sense. So
it made more sense business-wise. Did you enjoy talking to him?
Of course, man. He's a great interviewer.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to stay on your toes with him. But I like that, man. He's a very cool guy, and he's definitely bringing a lot of educational things to his fans, and vast variety of personalities as well.
Oh, right. It's like every minute you turn around, there's somebody complete different, industry. So it's pretty cool. I've listened to a lot of his stuff. Let's see. We talked about the social media, and we talked about your improvement. What are you just excited about the Olympia this year? It's at Planet Hollywood. I mean, it's before Christmas.
With all this that went on this year in 2020, and the Olympia is something to really look forward to. Like I said, we're gonna make it like Christmas time, definitely, because it's like Christmas time, and it's just really cool. So I'm definitely excited. I didn't know that I was gonna be able to come out to Kuwait with conditions and be in my normal zone. So I'm very blessed, to be able to prep out here and get ready for the Olympia out here. And I'm very blessed that we're even having an Olympia. So
right.
I'm just excited that I can end the year on a good note. I mean, 2020 is I know a lot of people complain about 2020, but 2020 has been a cool year for me.
Well, we kind of talked. I can't remember now. We've been on the phone for a while, but I can't remember if we talked about it prior to the show or in the beginning of the show when we started. But we were discussing this year and how some people have just been like so critical of the year and bad mouthing the year and cursing it. And I'm like, hey, there's still a lot of positives that's come out of it, even though it's been this really crazy, unpredictable year. But I think God still has a lot in store for us, and we just got to keep our faith. But so getting over to Kuwait, was there some kind of system that allowed you as a professional athlete to go there, or do you have, or is it just, did they sneak you in a suitcase?
Well, just say, you have to being connected with Kuwaitis here and having some history here definitely helps when it comes to being able to get into the country during these times. So being able to have people that can get your visas and do the work here before you can get here is always great. So I was very fortunate enough to have a system here, a system of people here that can kind of help me, a team here to kind of help me get here. So I can't really complain about not being able to get here, because this, like I said, I don't know what I would have been able to do. Prepping at home would have been a lot harder, and I haven't been used to it. It's my fourth season out here, so
you're kind of in a groove now. So
exactly.
Yeah, well, you would have had to hide your candy, your fruit snacks from yourself, or maybe Brandy would have had to hide them from you. I don't know, but so okay, so let's just kind of walk now. You said are we 9 weeks away, or
we're just under 9.
Right under 9. Oh, wow. It's so crazy when you say 2 months. It sounds like a lot more when you say 8 weeks. It's like, that's not much time. I don't know. Maybe that's the competitor brain that, you're like, that's a lot to do in that amount of time. So are you feel like you're on track right now for where you want to be at 8 weeks out?
Yeah, well, we feel like, I was kind of, my body just accelerated in a direction that we weren't really expecting. So my conditioning kind of came up on me really, really fast. Oh. And my coach was like, whoa, because we were pushing for it. Right. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be ready earlier. And I like to be ready earlier. That's the difference between my preparation for the Arnold and the Olympia. For the Arnold, I was definitely ready at least 3 weeks out, and I was able to relax those final 3 weeks. For the Olympia, I was pushing to the end, and that led for some stress coming into the show on the body. But so being early, being ahead is always good. my body's cooperating with me very well. It's fresh from having the rest. So
Yeah.
everything's going good right now. So joints feeling good. Everything's feeling great. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so good to hear. So then, okay, so 8 weeks out, you're on track. You're feeling good. Brain's feeling good. You feel like that is such a wonderful place to be. When do you come home, or do you go straight to the Olympia?
Probably more than likely. Typically, we go straight to Las Vegas.
Okay.
A week ahead.
Okay. And Brandy, when do you head out?
I'll probably head out that Wednesday before the show with the kids.
Okay. And then do they put you guys up at the Planet Hollywood? Is that going to be, or do they have you guys in another place?
Well, we with the team, our team, they normally book us in a separate all-site location.
Okay.
But of course,
you don't need to announce that, but
yeah. Well, we also will stay when it comes close. We'll stay at the host venue just to be an access reaching.
Oh yeah, then you don't have to move around as far. You can just kind of come down and do it. When we're
doing all the cooking and stuff, we got to have the full comforts.
Right. That's good. And then how long will you stay in Vegas after? Because we've got Christmas right the next weekend, or the next, because I'm thinking there's a Tuesday. The next week is Christmas. So when will you head back, or do you even know that yet? Is it kind of all depends?
Well, my wife has family in Las Vegas, so it's kind of up to her.
Okay.
And so I'll let her do that planning for that, and I'll just
go for the ride. So you don't necessarily have to be back in Nashville area. I can't remember the name of your city, but you don't actually have to. You don't feel like it's a have to be in Tennessee, I guess, for Christmas. Could you spend Christmas in Vegas then, or Nevada?
Oh yeah, we can spend Christmas anywhere. I mean, it's
that's
fun. As long as we're together as a family, we don't. It don't matter where we spend Christmas. We just want to be together and enjoy each other after such a long time apart.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be a reunion, and then what a beautiful time to celebrate. Hey, Zion, you still there?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you know, can you tell me whose birthday we celebrate at Christmas time? It's one of your favorites. He's one of your favorites. Uh-oh, he's going to be shy now again.
Jesus! Yogurt. That's why.
Okay. He's got his mouth full. Awesome. Well, I have just so enjoyed, getting to hear your story, and both of you, and Brandy, I know you've got your own story outside of, being a beautiful wife and mother. And I know you've got your whole IFBB history as well. And I wish I could dive into that a little bit more too, but I know that we could probably all sit here and talk for another hour. And then Brandon's going to be like, okay, I got to go, and starving. And my husband he'll be asleep and we'll be talking. I can see it now. But I just really appreciate you guys coming on and sharing so much of your heart. I have my one last question I had, we've already talked about it, but my question was, how has your faith made a difference in your career, marriage, and mindset? And I feel like we've already covered that, and it's so beautiful that it just felt like organically. Brandon, I do have a scripture for you. Wanted to share. Have you heard of Proverbs 18:22?
Proverbs 18:22.
And if you haven't, if you don't know it off the top of your head, it's okay. This isn't a test. It's a really beautiful scripture.
I don't know it off the top of my head, but I may be familiar with it when you
so it says, he that finds a wife finds finds favor with the Lord, and finds what is good and favor with the Lord.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
So that's why now you have it. It's
exactly why I knew I needed a wife.
You needed favor, and you needed what's good.
Yeah,
I just love that scripture, and it's fun to share, especially with somebody like yourself and your wife. And it's just, you guys are a demonstration of what marriage should be, can be. And I just really appreciate you guys sharing with me. And I'm going to start getting all choked up now talking about it, because I'm an emotional person, and this is just like one of those fairy tale stories. So thank you guys.
Well, it's not a fairy tale. It's just God's hand and everything. And
Well,
we can
you're
see
right.
it,
Sorry.
you just point to it. You know,
You're
just point
right.
to it. That's all. And you just see God working in our relationship and in our lives, and we just share it with you.
I think
with
that's
you.
how we
so
knew
other people
we
can
were
see
going
the same if they really look into things. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of husbands, mine is with our goddaughter, and he's waiting for me to come and meet them for dinner. So we're going to go. We've got a young girl who's 17 now. We've known her since she was 11, and we've been, I guess, helping to raise her, helping with school and different things. So we have her this week. So we're going to go have dinner and then bring her home tonight. And so I guess I've got to say goodbye, as hard as it is for me to say bye. It's one of the worst things about me is I can't say goodbye. So,
Oh.
so Brandon, just, all of God's blessings on your health and your training and who you are and what you're doing for the community, for yourself, obviously for your family, and for God's glory and his kingdom. I just will keep you guys in my prayers. And Brandy, you're such a beautiful, beautiful woman. And I just have a feeling if we talked, I know you would be that Proverbs 31 woman. And it's an honor to get to speak with you and see your children. So thank you, Zion, for visiting as well. Does Zion, did he take his shirt off?
He
Yes.
did. He was pumping iron behind us. Oh, and here's Marvelous.
Hey, Marvelous.
Pop in here.
Nice to see you too, handsome boy. So
Brian's
anyone,
always the first one to take his shirt off.
is he? He gets hot. Well, does anyone have a bicep shot they can give us before we have to say goodbye?
Come on, Marv. Come on, Marv.
Oh,
You got a
no.
long sleeve shirt on. Huh?
Give it, Zion. Put your yogurt down.
We gotta see
Show
arms.
your bicep, Zion. Show it.
Yeah, show him some muscles now.
Give it to us.
Woo, let's see it.
Show
Let's see it.
those abs.
Oh, the most muscular. All right. We're gonna have a show. We're gonna have
Come
a
on, Marv.
pose
Where you
down.
at?
Wow, marvelous! Look at that chest. Oh my goodness. There's the abs and everything. Good job, guys. Way to go. Pose down city. All right, you guys.
Do it that much. Now.
Y'all are beautiful. Thank you so
On the
much.
iPad too much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you guys. Your interview will stay on the Monica Brandt Show website. So BeMonicaBrandt.com. Wait, sorry, TheMonicaBrandtShow.com. So it's out. It'll stay out there, and feel free to share the link when it's ready. And thank you guys so much for your time.
Definitely share the link. Send us the links. We'll share everything.
Okay. Big hug to you guys. Air
All
hugs,
right.
and hugs.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Thank you guys for joining. All of you stayed here for our long show. We thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I look forward to seeing you guys next week, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, The Monica Brandt Show. I'm Monica Brandt signing off. Good night.